here I'm going to demonstrate string input. So let me just take a look at this sample program. I have two string variables, declared name and city. I'm going to prompt the user to enter their name, and then I'm going to cin name, which means I'll store the name from the keyboard into this variable. And the same thing, I'll prompt them to enter the city, and then cin city will store the city in this variable, and then I'm just going to output hello, followed by the name they entered, and you live in, followed by the city they entered. So I'm going to run my program, and I'm going to put in Jane, and the city I live in is Sanborn. And it says, hello Jane, you live in Sanborn. So everything looks like it's good. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to enter Jane's first and last name. And if you think about how the input operator works, it'll read up to the first white space character. So a white space character can be a space, an enter key, or a tab character. So the way it worked initially, when I said Jane enter, it actually stored Jane and name when I hit the enter key. So if I run this and I put Jane Smith, this doesn't work as we might think. So if we look at this, it says, hello Jane, you live in Smith. Because the first input operator stored Jane, when I typed the space bar, the second input operator stored Smith. So if you are working with strings and these strings have spaces in them, and a majority of strings do, we cannot use a cin statement like this. We use a different statement which is called getline. And I'm going to show you the syntax of it. It's getline, in parentheses you put cin, and then you put your string variable, and it ends in a semicolon. I'm going to leave this old code out here in a comment just to show you this getline replaces this code, and I'm going to do the same thing here for my city variable. Okay. Now I'm going to run the program again. This time I'm going to put New York so you can see something with a space in it. And it says, hello Jane Doe, you live in New York. And so this is demonstrating when we work with string variables, and this is only string variables. You shouldn't use getline with integers or doubles, just strings. You probably most of the time want to use a getline. There are some cases where you don't have to if you work with a string, let's say, and the string is you want the user to enter the month. There's generally not blank spaces in the middle of a month. If you're putting the month October, you don't leave a blank space in the middle of that. So it might be okay, but a majority of the time you want to use getline. And I just want to show you here, right? I'm going to put in just Jane and Sanborn from my original example, and you'll notice it works just fine for that. So it'll work if you have a space in your string or you don't. So it's very important that you understand when you're working with string variables, you need to use getline in place of the input operator.